Welcome to I'm Not Making Up Stories, where I make up multiple stories for a book, and it would be up to you to guess the true plot of the book. Today, I'm talking about a book called Dragon's Egg. I will present you three stories: a hard science fiction, a fantasy, and a historical mystery. Science fiction. This book is about first contact with a life form that lives on the surface of a neutron star called Dragon's Egg. Humans and this new life form share a common beginning. You see, 500,000 years ago, a star went supernova and it turned into a neutron star. The explosion was so bright that it was visible to the naked eye on Earth, which was inhabited by humanoid forms, not Homo sapiens, not yet. The cloud of gas from the explosion reached the solar system after 5,000 years. The Earth's magnetic field felt the bombardment for 1,000 years, eventually weakening the magnetic field and causing the ozone layer to collapse, leaving life on Earth vulnerable to radiation and mutations. By the time the millennia-long bombardment stopped, the humanoid forms had evolved into Homo sapiens. Life wasn't evolving just on Earth. A new life form was taking shape on the surface of the neutron star. Unlike life on Earth, which is backed by chemical reactions by electromagnetic force, this new life form is backed by the strong nuclear force. They are tiny, living in a harsh environment of crushingly strong gravity where mountains are mere millimeters tall and they peak out of iron vapors. The book takes us through the important milestones for both life forms. This story doesn't contain any hard spoilers. The enjoyment comes from reading the story even if one knows where it's heading. The humans' point of view chapters make large leaps in timeline. Humans find two primordial black holes swirling inside our sun, which is causing irregularity in solar cycles. After another leap in timeline, humans observe a neutron star moving in a trajectory that will bring it closer to Earth than any other star has ever been. Not wanting to miss this opportunity, humans send a manned mission to collect data from up close. The aliens' point of view chapters are much more interesting. They are the focus of the book. We see mere stable nuclear compounds turn to conscious life form, then to using the first tool for hunting, then to a hunter-gatherer tribal species, finally to settle with agriculture. We go along when one of them develops the abstract concept of counting for the first time, and we see what drives that invention. We see the species learning to travel through the harsh, punishing magnetic field of the neutron star, and the need for such hardship. We also see the birth of religion. If the supernova was the first connection between humans and this new life form, then religion is the second connection. The aliens notice the light from the desolating thrusters of the human spaceship. It shows up as brighter than the other lights in the sky. And so, their god gets a name, the Bright One. Once humans realize the existence of intelligence on the surface of the star, frequent communication is established, which isn't a simple task for the aliens. The life on the surface would send a signal and wait their whole life to get a reply, whereas for humans, only minutes would have passed. This time difference pushes the aliens towards their next invention, information storage. Now the conversation with their god could continue across generations. Humans send everything they know about science. Life on the star stores it, learns from it, teaches it to their children, and they advance at an alarming rate. Every time human astronauts would wake up from a nap, several generations would have passed on the surface. Soon, the aliens push their technology farther than humans have. The book ends with the student becoming the master. The new life form unlocks the mystery of gravity. But they wouldn't give humans the knowledge. If they try to teach us, they think humans aren't ready to understand it, and also they don't want to rob humans of the feeling of discovery and invention. It feels like a bit of a jerk move, but the aliens are truly looking out for us. They ensure humanity will survive long enough to increase their knowledge to a point where we can understand the secrets of gravity. They do this by removing the primordial black holes from the sun. No more unpredictable solar cycles. And then, as a test of humanity's intelligence, to test if humans have advanced enough, the aliens store the secret of gravity in this distant star system. If humans can travel that distance, it would mean we had advanced enough and we were ready to understand gravity. Fantasy. This is one of those stories where the journey is the important part rather than the destination. The events of the book takes place in a world called Volturna. It's a dual planet system. Volturna and its sister planet Fortuna orbit each other as they revolve around a common star. The two planets are so close to each other that a Volturian can see the clouds on the sister planet, its oceans and its storms. According to myths, Fortuna is where the gods live. The storms on Fortuna show either a celebration or battle among the gods, depending on which Volturian priest you ask and when you ask them. In one such storm on Fortuna, an object flew away from the eye of the storm toward Volturna. It burned through the atmosphere, leaving a long smoke trail as it fell, and when it hit the ground, all of Volturna felt the trembles. Priests from different civilizations translated this event either as a gift from the gods or an evil outcast from the realm of gods. Over time, rumors spread, stories were shared, and myths were born, each vastly different from one another. But one thing they all agreed on was the name of what fell that day: Dragon's Egg. Today, no one remembers why it was given that name. Perhaps the shape of the storm on Fortuna had resembled a dragon. Or perhaps the smoke trail blown by the wind gave the impression of a dragon flying down. Whatever the reason, the dragon's egg became the most prized possession anyone could imagine. It became power itself. Countless empires rose to power by lying that the dragon's egg had fallen within its lands. Several more were burned down in the search for this treasure. Adventurers traveled far and wide looking for the egg. Many died, and many more were lost. Our story begins with one such adventurer. When we first meet him, he's just a humble shopkeeper selling honey. He's not rich, but his heart is bigger than his money pouch. He feeds this local beggar whenever he can. One evening, on his way home after closing his shop, he notices this beggar sitting at the edge of a cliff. They talk and they share bread and honey. The beggar reveals he was once a wealthy cartographer in a faraway land. He was one of those adventurers who had set out to look for the dragon's egg. His obsession had cost him everything, maybe even his sanity. Even the ragged, dirty, torn clothes he was wearing were not his own. He says he has no possession except one: an old map. That, as he claims, is his life. But now, he's ready to part from it. He gives the map to the shopkeeper, who accepts it for the sake of being polite. Later that night, the shopkeeper couldn't sleep. He lies in his bed, staring out the window up through the clear night sky of Volturna and into the massive storm of Fortuna. He looks at the different shapes that become visible in the storm's dark clouds every time lightning races through them. One such shape is of a dragon. In his excitement at spotting the dragon's shape, he knocks over some glasses which roll over the map that the beggar had given him. The glass acts as a magnifier, and the shopkeeper realizes that the squiggly lines along the borders of the map are actually tiny writings. he reads them and finds it quite amusing. It's like a fairy tale, another story about the dragon's egg. But then he realizes something quite interesting. The writing is in the past tense. He reads everything from the start again and then once more. It's written as if the beggar had already been on the path. Not only that, it seems the beggar had found the dragon's egg. With his lifelong purpose achieved, the beggar had felt an existential crisis and left the egg where it was. Next morning, the shopkeeper searches the entire market for the beggar. He asks other shopkeepers, but no one knows. Finally, he goes to the spot on the cliff and finds the beggar dead. The beggar had discarded his clothes and was leaning against a rock. Years pass by. The shopkeeper leads a simple, quiet life, but every time a storm appears on Fortuna, it reminds him of the map, and he takes it out and reads the writings. He's done it so many times that by now he remembers every word from it, every turn on the map, every path that needs to be avoided. His mind sees the path as patterns everywhere, spilled waters forming rivulets in the lightning, a trail of ants. Everywhere he looks, he sees the map. He thinks he's going crazy. Unable to bear it anymore, he consults a priest who says the dragon's egg had never been real. It's metaphorical. But the shopkeeper isn't convinced. How come everything around him has the same pattern? It's as if the gods were telling him to travel to the dragon's egg. The priest finally says that the only way to get peace of mind is if he actually goes on this path. But he must not be afraid of giving up, or else he will be one of those countless who had gone mad looking for the dragon's egg. And so it begins. Our shopkeeper becomes an adventurer. The book takes us with him on his journey. Along the way, we come across magical beasts, thieves, traps both natural and man-made, obstacles both documented and undocumented in the map, and other adventurers following the same quest. We even come across a king who had given up his throne to look for the dragon's egg. The more characters our adventurer comes across, the more he changes. His thoughts show us he's no longer the humble shopkeeper he once was. The journey is corrupting him even before he reaches the egg. I won't spoil much more of the book. You would have to read it yourself to find out how much our shopkeeper changes. Is there a redemption arc? Is it a happy ending? If so, who is happy in the end? And most importantly, what actually is the dragon's egg? Historical mystery. Imagine the Victorian era. The year is 1860. Location: harbor of a city I didn't know existed before I read this book. Algiers. A British ship sets sail for London. It's carrying a treasure meant to be a gift for Queen Victoria, the dragon's egg. It's a golden egg with silver patterns and embedded jewels. Inside the egg is the biggest and most beautiful diamond the world has seen. To ensure the safety of Dragon's Egg, there are guards on the ship and a detective. Though everyone on the ship knows there's a detective on board, no one knows who it is. The identity is kept secret on the detective's insistence, who had claimed it would be easier to safeguard the Dragon's Egg while in disguise. So, when the Dragon's Egg gets stolen, the mystery is twofold. 1. Who stole it and where is it? And 2. Who is the detective? If the ship reaches London without the promised treasure, everyone, the crew, the passengers, the captain, everyone would be thrown into prison. The mystery unfolds through 3 characters. The first character is a confidence trickster, currently on the run after a fraud gone bad. He's tired of cheating people, but he thinks he has no other skill. Once aboard the ship, he sees a charming rich woman and starts questioning his life choices. He dreams of a new life with this woman where he will no longer cheat people. to achieve his dream of an honest life, he plays one last confidence trick. He pretends to be this detective in disguise to impress the woman. But when the treasure gets stolen, he must find the treasure or let go of his dream of a new life. The second character is a woman, bound to her husband by marriage, repelled by his beatings. She dreams of sailing away to Canada, to its snowy, peaceful mountains. But she needs money to ensure she wouldn't have to rely on another man. So when the dragon's egg gets stolen, she wants to find it for herself. She plans to sell it and buy her freedom. The third character is one of the guards. He has a family waiting for him in Algiers. If he gets imprisoned, his family will go hungry. To make matters worse, a man is found dead on the ship. It could be another passenger, or it could be the detective. But that's just the beginning. Soon, more people turn up dead. Saying anything more would be major spoilers. So there you have it. 3 possible plots. 2 of them are made up. Only one is the actual plot for the book Dragon's Egg.